and welcome. Radical Race 12th and final round live in Nordschleife in Germany. Current track length is 12.944 miles, 154 turns, and a track record of 5.91 from Stefan Beloff, Porsche 9563. Mind you, capacity 150,000. That does include the circuit FIA grade 1 G, 2 layouts, 3 combined, hosted of the FIA Race of Germany, and of course, and the 2 hours Nürburgring Ring. So what an absolutely stunning circuit close. I am James Parfitt, and I am going to be joined in the booth, as always, for this season. So, Larry, Ewan, welcome in. How are you, young sir?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Once again, good evening to everybody at home as well. Yeah, it's the classic Nordschleife finale here today for the Radical Race Series, and very much looking forward to it once again. Last season, we saw a fantastic battle between Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell, with the championship still on the line, let's not forget as well. A race that came down to the very final few corners. So if we get something like that again, then we're going to be very, very enthralled indeed by this race. It's always exciting around here.
Yeah, it's an interesting circuit. And, you know, I've been running it this week. Officials, 104 corners, full concentration all the way. Now, I found out, to my peril, that the SR10, not very forgiving over the curbs of the Nordschleife circuit. Now, it does not whatsoever, and during practice, we have sat here and we've seen the likes of Simon Edwards go off. Other people have hit the wall. You know, we do have a times of 10, mind you. My time was about 50 seconds lower than that, which just goes to show how fast these guys are. But what are the challenges here? You know, there's a lot to this circuit and a lot to look out for, isn't there?
There certainly is. The curbs are one of them. I mean, this new generation of Radical, the old generation as well, doesn't like curbs, as you mentioned. It's very low to the ground, very downforce based, and you can just see it here. That front splitter, for example, not going to like it at all. Neither is any of the cars. So you want to stay off the curbs, even on these kind of curbs through on the Hatzenbach, where actually you can use them in GT3s and whatever. Even in those cars, you avoid the curbs for the most part at the Nordschleife because they're so deadly. But even on those more forgiving ones, you can't really use them in the Radical. I'd say maybe the only ones you can use are the ones up the hill towards Andau Forest. You might be able to use that uphill towards a blind left-hander, then quickly braking into a chicane. You might be able to use it at the left-hander because it's quite a low curb up there and you can get onto it quite a lot. But pretty much anywhere else, you're not going to be using the curves around here, and that's a given for these drivers. It also means that not only does grass and gravel and walls line this circuit, but to bring the margin of error even closer to you, the curbs have got to be avoided as well. So that just increases the amount of things that can go wrong and increases the frequency of which these things go wrong as well, which is the big challenge for these drivers over only 4 laps, of course, but it is a very long one.
Yeah, it is, and currently we are seeing times of 6:10. 3-4 by Simon Edwards and Luke Maxwell. Different format, as you can see in the top left-hand corner. There they are on qualifying. So currently we're on a 3:40 left of qualifying. Racing Community TV. Hi, James. Hello. Welcome in. And Dan S, your mic keeps cutting out. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully that should have resolved the issue. I've made some adjustments in Discord once your message popped up, so hopefully it will be a lot better now. But we are here with 154 corners of pure and utter concentration. We've got 60 cars on track. We know the season ending already, and let's give you the rundown of the scores currently. Simon Edwards is champion, okay? We did, now this is the thing, you know, we kind of predicted that he was last week. I wasn't, we're more confident than me that was going to happen. But the battle, I suppose, is really now for second place between Luke Maxwell and Mike Bousson.
Yes, it is, and that's a pretty big gap in my opinion between Maxwell and Bousson. 14 points. Bousson didn't have a very good round at all, at the last race at Bathurst, and he dropped a lot of points on that one. Not that he didn't make a fool of himself or anything, just didn't quite get as many points as he needed, really. So Maxwell should be able to take that with especially the amount of drivers we have out there here today. Maxwell should be able to seal that one with only a top 5 here in this race. And of course, we know how good Edwards and Maxwell both are around this circuit. Just look at the qualifying times that we've had up previously. It's between Edwards and Maxwell. Dan Webster's there as well, very much so. But Mike Bousson not quite on that pace. I don't think he would have expected to be turning into this race.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. We've got a 4-second gap, really, or just under 4 seconds between Bousson in 5th and Maxwell in 2nd place. Luke, as we've said, is already quick round here. Edwards is quick, and last season come down literally, I think it was on the last final straight. So, we knew these guys were going to be running at the front of the field. Maxwell had somewhat of a rocky start to the season, but got it going again, and has now made really massive gains over the last 2 or 3 rounds, and has now put himself into that 2nd place. Now, we do look back and say, what if he could have had that run at the beginning? What if he could have been doing, a lot better? But it's here now, and that's the thing for Bousson. Bousson's season really kind of has been nearly taken the victory, nearly been at the front. He should have taken Watkins Glen only to become an absolute cropper of the chicane. But it's them kind of mistakes and them kind of things that could cost you championships, and I think it has cost Bousson the chance of being the championship winner this season.
Yeah, I think in terms of the actual points, that those particular races that we're talking about, Watkins Glen and Fuji is the one for me particularly, where he ran out of fuel, well, he didn't run out of fuel, but he had to come into the pit lane to put some more fuel in. Those two are the really. But in reality, that would have, and you might be thinking at home, well, that's only going to give him 10 points more, and he's quite a long way off by now, so it wouldn't have made a difference. But the confidence he would have gotten from those race wins, the confidence that he would have gotten from converting those is absolutely massive, and so it can't be underestimated quite the impact that would have had if he had indeed converted those.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think conversion would have been the key for him, and unfortunately he didn't manage to get it done, which is an absolute shame for Mike Bousson. I think he should have been there or thereabouts, and I think he'll probably rue that's what's happened, but I think he'll look at coming back stronger next season overall. We have come to the end of qualifying. There seems to be still an issue with my mic. I am still trying to work at it in the background currently at the moment, so just bear with, and hopefully it will start slowing itself down and correcting itself, but I will continue to try and work on this situation here in the background this evening. We have got Phil Glover in the booth. Phil, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, guys. How are you guys?
I'm not too bad. How's you working out? How's it going around here in Nords?
Qualified 8 at the moment, but there's a long distance between myself and Paul Clark, a couple of seconds really, or just over a couple of seconds.
What's the plan then, Phil? What are you aiming for?
Keep it on the black stuff, avoid the walls. Yeah, I don't know, we'll just take it as it comes.
Right, okay, mate. Well, good luck. We're getting gridding up, and what we'll do is I'll try and catch you down the long Dottinger Straight, and we'll have a chat halfway through the race, buddy, all right?
Yeah, sure. I'll. Do you want me to go into the interview waiting room?
Yeah, I'll drop you in there now.
Yeah, we'll do.
There we go, guys. We will have a driver's eye from Phil Glover. Just bear with, and we will hopefully get this up and going and underway. Phil across the pond, good evening, sir. I hope you're well and everything is going fine. Don't forget, guys, as well, if you can subscribe, give the video a big old thumbs up. That would be absolutely amazing. Also, the Radical Race Series are actively recruiting drivers for next season. Their link is down below in the description. So if you want to get involved in radical action, go over to www.radicalraceseries.co.uk. That will be absolutely incredible. Get yourself involved. Come and join this absolutely epic that runs every Thursday evening for a 12-week season. And we are looking at starting again the next season in 2 weeks' time, I believe, on the 15th of December. So come and get involved in Amazing. Just waiting for the results of qualifying. That, as we know, can take a while to come through here at this wonderful circuit.
Yeah, you might be wondering why normally we'd be starting our 10-minute qualifying session, at 9 o'clock normally, I think it is, that we normally start it in. And so we have the checkered flag in qualifying at 9 o'clock here in this round, because it can take you 6 minutes come round to actually complete your lap time for everybody to get themselves sorted out. So that's why we're a little bit early. Don't forget that this race does indeed have that long qualifying session, always has done. 2 hours, I think it is, in total. It's the length of the usual practice session that is just before qualifying. That's normally what you see when we go live for this series. But we just went live for the end of qualifying there, which kind of makes it a little bit anticlimactic for the viewer, I guess, and for us. But we can't be here for the whole 2 hours, and Nords is a very long circuit, so it's very difficult to commentate on qualifying here, because you have to wait more than 5 minutes for them to actually improve on lap times. It's not quite the same as all the other circuits.
So the grid is up. So Simon Edwards is in first, Luke Maxwell second, Dan Webster third, Paul Grab fourth, Mike Bousson fifth, Ben Underdown sixth, Paul Clark seventh, Phil Glover eighth, Graham Brown ninth, David Rolliston in Jeff Brown 11th. Darrell Taylor is down in 12th place. Below that, David Beasley in 13th, Phil Jocelyn 14th, Damien G 15th, and Dave Dawson in place. Well, I think, to be honest, we're going to be in for a treat. I also do wonder whether or not Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards are going to run away, if they can get away. That's the thing. What do we think, Ewan, before we get going?
I think Edwards and Maxwell might bring down Webster with them, but there certainly will be a lot of separation up towards the front. This circuit's so difficult. There's no place to hide around here. It's very, very difficult to stay close indeed, because of the skill level it takes. So let's see what happens.
Here we go. The lights are on. 4 lights now, 5 lights. And we are away here at Nords. And Simon Edwards has gone into turn 1, currently in the lead, with Dan Webster in third. Luke Maxwell tucked up right behind him currently here as well, as they're leading us in to the start of what's going to be an absolute incredible circuit. Phil Glover has jumped Paul Clark at the start there, along with David Rolliston and Graham Brown. So we do have Seth Brown and Graham Brown, so I'm going to make this a little bit easier for us, Ewan. Put their initials at the front, so there we go. But everybody seems to have got away cleanly.
It does seem that way. That's the kind of thing you get with a start like this. It's such a such a short run down towards turn number 1. You really can't do anything or go anywhere, which kind of helps really, especially at a circuit like this. You can't go side by side really into the first portion of the Nordschleife, as Simon Edwards goes off at the top of the hill.
Yeah, Edwards there goes off. He's down now currently in the 4th. Bousson is now fighting as well, trying to come through, and Bousson's through. Has Edwards got damage from that little runoff earlier on in the race? Let's have a quick look back. We are going to have some time here. So let's have a look and see what Simon Edwards went up to. Oh, he bumped the wall.
He did, and I'd be surprised if there's no damage on that car, especially when you're going down the dotting row at the end of the lap. There certainly will be damage, and straight line speed will be lost. I think we saw it even a little bit there as Ben Underdown was closing in on Simon Edwards there. I think we even saw a lack of straight line speed already, so it's going to be very, very difficult. And Edwards will be really disappointed with that mistake as well, because basically when you're going through there at the Flugplatz, you're basically through the corner by the point he's got off there. He's gotten into the grass in a very silly way on the exit of the Flugplatz there. And he'll be really kicking himself after that one. And now it's all turning on him. Oh, dearie me.
That's him done. Not going to be able to do anything of that. I think that's Simon Edwards' finish for the night. Because that's a long tow, isn't it? It's not like we're here at Brands Hatch or anywhere where the tow's like a minute and a half. He's got a, he's still on the front side of the circuit. He's going to have at least 8 minutes to tow that car back in and come back out again.
I'd even be surprised if by the time he's done that, and by the time he's repaired the damage as well, because that front right was wrecked, as you can see from the onboard shot there. then, you know, the end of the race might well be near. I think that could be the last we see of the champion Simon Edwards in this season, which is a really bizarre thing to say and really uncharacteristic, but it's very clear that either there was damage on the car after the incident at front pass, or he just lost his rhythm and lost his way completely.
Yeah, as we see here, Seth Brown and Damien G coming now into the run through down through Lauder Links into Bergvik. Currently at the moment, these two guys are battling it out for 12th and 13th place. So further up though, Dan Webster, the man that we didn't think was going to be there, we thought he might be dragged along, is taken the lead, and now nearly out at a second gap already.
Absolutely, he's taken the initiative here and he's just gone for it. I'm very surprised, I've got to say, but more surprised that Maxwell can't quite hold the pace. With all respect to Webster, I do think that it's Maxwell who's just struggling to get up to speed right now, because Paul Crabb is sticking with him, despite being a few seconds down on Maxwell in that qualifying session there. So I just wonder whether Maxwell, maybe even he just nailed one lap in qualifying and his actual race pace, he's going to be a little bit slower than what we just saw in that previous session. It's hard to tell for the moment, but once you've broken the slipstream around here at Nordschleife, it's not like other circuits, it's not like Monza or Daytona where you're completely out of it once you've lost the draft. You can't get back into it because this circuit's so difficult and you can make up so much time throughout a lap. Even so, it's not going to be easy when you've got Dan Webster out front, because obviously he is driving very well.
Yeah, Dan Webster is absolutely flying along. Paul Crabb sticking with Luke Maxwell. Sven-Jan Matheson, radical action here from Nords. 4 laps of pure, unadulterated action with the guys from the Radical Race Series. The battle is between Luke Maxwell and Mike Bousson. Currently, Luke is going to take second place. I think we do, in a way, almost believe that that's probably a given. I think here, you know, Bousson was about 4 seconds slower than Maxwell. So, you know, we are predicting that Maxwell does go out and, you know, take the victory, or take the second place, we should say. The gap has come down between Crabb and Maxwell, but it's, you know, Maxwell and Webster is out to 1.3 at the moment. What?
Yeah,
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is, and I'm not entirely sure how it's happened, but there we are. This is the thing you get around the Nordschleife. I mean, look at the margins we're seeing right now already. In terms of between these drivers, they're quite big margins. I mean, I know we are minutes into this race, and 1 lap around here is not like any other circuit around here at the Nordschleife. You probably argue that 1 lap is about 4 laps at a usual circuit. 16 laps is about right for one of these races at a shorter length circuit. Even so, at this point in the lap, they're probably 3 and a bit laps in. And imagine seeing these amount of gaps at a normal circuit 3 laps in. You'd be like, what is happening here? But it's the Nordschleife. It's so difficult. You can make up and lose time so easily. And making up time is exactly what Dan Webster's doing right now. And as you can see, the slipstream effect is not going to be bringing Maxwell back into it. That's why he's got to get back within that second. Just look at what's happening to Paul Crabb now. He's going to have a chance for second.
Yeah, Crabb and Maxwell coming down now. The Dottinger, under the bridge they go, left-hander. I don't think Crabb is going to be crazy enough to make that move. I'm going to flip back here because I think we're going to see Seth Brown looking to clear Damien G on this run down the Dottinger now. Oh, he's... Okay, so why did he carry that? That was a little bit bizarre, because he surely would have been carrying more speed along that point. But it's whether or not Brown, I suppose, is... Well, he's doing 180. There's nothing wrong with the straight line speed there. I just wondered why all of a sudden he didn't look at making that move. Ewan, I thought he would have been able to make that move clear and done before we'd even got down to the end of the straight.
Yeah, I don't really know as Damien G goes wide, and here comes Seth Brown into turn 1, which is always really difficult, but broken later on the outside line there. I think Damien G just didn't want any part of that. I just wonder whether Brown has got more downforce on, because when he pulled out there, it seemed to hit a brick wall of air, and that does happen when you've got a lot more downforce on than the driver in front. That's the real conundrum you have around the Nordschleife, because see, there's a lot of corners around here, but there's also quite a few straights and fast sections where you don't really want the downforce anymore, and that's really what defines the battles around here. Obviously, a good driver can kind of negate any advantage or disadvantage of either setup, but when there's 2 evenly matched drivers, it can come down to sail. But most of the time, the driver with the least downforce on does tend to come out on top when the drivers are evenly matched, because straight is down towards the end of the lap, And there's not many corners for a high downforce car to make its way through before the line.
But what are we talking about? You know, what for the people at home that don't know about downforce or don't know about everything else, what are we looking at here? Because if Damien G is running a skinnier rear downforce wing and Seth Brown has got more on board, what effect is that going to have for Seth going through these very twisty 154 corners? But what effect is he going to have going down the Dottinger straight and the other straight as well? You know, what are we talking here for people that don't know about downforce?
Well, my reasoning is because Damien G let Seth Brown through at turn 1, and that's an odd place to do it. And the reason why I think he's done that is because Seth Brown's got more downforce on, so able to go through the corners a little bit quicker. Hard to tell, really, just by watching. We'll have to speak to them after the race, or try and find out from them after the race to see if I'm right or talking honky donk. But we'll find out later. You know, it's going to make Seth Brown a lot quicker through the corners. I don't think Damien G wanted that behind him, because Damien G is going to be more slippery through the corners. He's going to have a harder time controlling that car through the most portion of the lap, but he is going to be faster on the straight, and that's why Seth Brown didn't overtake there at the Dottinger. It does seem, though, that Seth Brown has got a slightly faster setup around here, no matter what the downforce is, because you see the way he's gotten away now. Nearly 2 seconds after he was let through at turn 1.
You know, we talk about downforce and stuff. I don't think 2 seconds really would be something that I would expect him to pull out straight away. And he's kind of, Seth Brown has kind of just got clear and said, thanks very much, I'm off. Unfortunately for Damien G, now got Darrell Taylor climbing all over him as well. The gap is still, Maxwell and Crabb is still down to 4/10s, but Paul Clark and Phil Glover are even closer currently. As you can see here on your screen, the orange and the blue. Well, Paul, obviously from iLounge Racing, the sponsor of this year's season. Please go check them out at iLoungeRacing.co.uk. And Phil, you know, Glover's doing all right, isn't he, to be fair, you in this early on. He's sticking with Paul. There was a 2-second gap in quali. And I think if he can stay with him through the bits that he needs to, by the time he comes onto a straight, he should be able to close that gap back down again.
Yeah, I think Glover maybe will be surprising himself right now with this performance, because he did. That was almost the kind of most impactful thing he mentioned when we had a quick chat with him after the qualifying session. You know, the fact he's 1.5 seconds off the next car, he was saying, you know, what can I do about this qualifying position, because I've got to find 2 seconds here to get up 1 place. It's ridiculous, and that's, you know, the struggle you have around here. But I think he'll be impressing himself really with his performance, about how he's able to stick with Paul Clark at the moment. And it's a good performance from Glover. He's got to stay with him though through this section now, and try and get him on the Dottinger, as long as he has you know, the aerodynamic setup to do that.
Yeah, as we say, we're not partial to what they're running. Spengyoung Mapset. Well, 3 laps around here to go. A lot can happen. It can. The wall of concrete out of the draft. Yes, we have just discussed why that's possible. And then he puts, I don't know, I haven't driven around it. And then Paul LeMay put a message and then decided he didn't like what he told. No, he's gone off and said, no, not going to go around that. Unfortunately for Glover, he has dropped back about 8/10. He lost a lot of time through S-curve and on that run through there, that section as well. So that did not do him any favours. However, for Maxwell, this could be Crabb attacking very, very quickly. You'll see the gap. These guys come through at the mini carousel before we go down onto the Dottinger now. And Crabb's gap is about 4/10 at the moment. If he can keep it round there, Ewan, he's going to gain some pace. But whether or not he's going to have enough to get down to the end, yeah, and obviously Maxwell not helping himself there.
No, absolutely not. And any aerodynamic setup is not going to be helped by running in the grass just out of the final corner. Well, I was calling it the final corner. It's not, but it's the last corner before the Dottinger Galvin Cup there. But clipping the grass there is not going to help Luke Maxwell whatsoever. Paul Crabb was really able to close in on the straight last time. We'll see what he does this time. I have a feeling he's just waiting here. He seemed to close in there and just lift off. And he's doing that once again up into the tear gun. I don't know why. He doesn't seem to want to go through at the moment.
It doesn't at the moment, but Damien G hasn't lost that position to Darrell Taylor, and he lost it quite early on now. I'm quite surprised that there already. where he lost that position. But Damien G currently now has got
He's had a problem.
Yeah, he's had an issue. I'm going to try and see where the pass took place. Through again.
That's just exceptionally. I thought he looked a little bit slow coming out the mini carousel there, but clearly not. He's back up to speed now on the straight, I think. Although he's losing a bit of time. Yeah, I don't really know quite why he's losing so much time. That's Seth Brown just going for one of the few places you can go off here and get away with it.
Only just, mind you, because he had Darryl Taylor tucked up right behind him, and then Taylor does make that move past Brown there as well. But Maxwell's gap is now half a second over Crab. Paul Clark, Ben Underdown spin into contact with the wall. You can see it on the right-hand side. I've got a funny feeling he's going to lose another position here with Phil Glover tucked up right behind him. Oh, where are you going to go, Phil? Where are you going to go? The problem is here for Ewan as well, is Underdown's got to park his car almost in the middle of the circuit, and there's just nowhere through, is there? You can't get brave enough to make that pass when a car is sitting in the middle of the track.
Absolutely, it's very difficult. This circuit's so narrow, you can barely go side by side anywhere on the Nordschleife here. I mean, there's very few places to overtake. Up here into Adnar Forest might be the chance that this is Arenberg, and then you go down towards Adnar Forest now at the bottom of the hill. This is sort of a chance, but it's quite trusty even here, quite narrow. You can make it work. It's a bit of a straight section, but you're not going to be able to do it really. And it's a bit risky. Just look at this. It's a pretty wild corner anyway. You don't really want to be going side by side through there. And Ben Underdown looks like he's getting up to speed again now. He does look quicker than the two around him, but that damage might hold him back a little bit now, and of course that mistake will throw him off, as he threw off Simon Edwards earlier, as we saw down into this corner.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. This is one of these corners I do not like, and I don't like it because you lift, point, aim, and then you kind of hope that the car's going to grip. And also coming down here as well, I end up having to brake, and I end up puffs of smoke coming out of my tyres as I go round there. Oh! And I've done that before as well. So Underdown now really kind of needs to settle back down again and show us the pace that clearly he has. What he doesn't want to do is keep going out of control, because this hairpin is not forgiving, and it will be straight on into the wall. He makes it through that one, but now we go through this tricky, twisty section here, Ewan. From Underdown's point of view, just got to kind of calm down a little bit, isn't he? He seems to get a little bit ragged after his incident.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, though. As we saw earlier, it's probably the most obvious example of that I've ever seen, actually, out of Simon Edwards down on that first lap. And Brendan now does have to get his head down here and get on with it and get back into the rhythm, but it's so much easier said than done. It really is, especially around here. There's no respite. Imagine if we were at a normal Grand Prix circuit, you'd get to the start finish line in about a minute's time, maybe less, and you can recompose yourself and step into a new lap. But these guys have still got 3 minutes more on this lap at the moment. On this lap alone, never mind to get to a straight. So it's really hard to kind of get into that mindset and just move past that, and then actually push on with this race. As you see, Ben Underdown is really struggling to do that at the moment, and by the way, still leading this race.
He's got a country margin at the moment. He's got it out at 2.8 seconds. Nearly over, near enough. It was about 6 tenths quicker. Seth Brown is unfortunately looking like he's been into the wall. So is Damien G. But Graham Brown and David Rolliston were a lot closer than they are when I looked at them, because both of them were kind of really quite amply flying. I do want to have a look at what happened to Seth Brown, because he does look like he's had what looks like a terminal damage, and I think it's kind of kicked off from here, really. He runs through, goes over. He manages to survive, but then it's come up that he's had another instant.
Be down here to Exmuller maybe.
Oh! How bizarre.
Yeah, they just seemed to snap on him there, and I'm not sure why really there for Seth Brown. But it just seemed to snap on him. I bet that's done a lot of damage to the rear end as well, unfortunately. And so that'll be it in terms of a good finish for Seth Brown. He'll do well to get that even back to the pit lane, really. So we'll see, but yeah, that will have done a lot of damage.
Absolutely. Potato Seagull, welcome in. Hey, thank you so much for joining us again. is the closest battle on track at the moment. Paul Crabb and Luke Maxwell. Dan Webster is out in front, and it's kind of what we're saying at the moment. He's got it by a little bit of a country mile, about 3.6 seconds. Pulling out time, you know, like nothing, isn't he? It's like pulling out time of Doctor Strange out of the Avengers. He's just magicking it away from them and extending it every single, what seems to be every couple of corners. It's insane from Dan Webster.
Yeah, it's a really good performance and a bit of a surprise as well. One of the surprises of the season, considering the qualifying performance from him compared to Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards. For him to do this is quite unbelievable. As here comes Paul Crabb, finally using that straight line speed now that I've thought he has this whole race. Now he's using it. He clearly wants to lead this final lap and let Luke Maxwell do the overtaking on the final lap.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult enough as it is, but let's pull in Mr. Phil Glover. Phil, can you hear us?
Trying to catch up with, I think it's Ben Underwood, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've just draft at the moment.
All right,
There we
mate. How are you getting on? Is it all good? You're going to go around it now, so well done to you. Ben does, we think, have damage, but we are on the last lap. So a quick chat, hoping for the next lap. Complete it, top 6 finish, all done and dusted, Phil.
Well, we've got another lap to go, haven't we now? So I was hoping to catch Paul again, but he's making good progress now.
Well, you keep having to carry on there, bud, and we'll catch up with you later.
Okay, no worries.
Right, as we leave Phil Glover to complete his last lap. Hey, how are y'all? And how's it going? Well, we've had our championship winner Simon Edwards into the wall. Damien G is in the wall, and Darryl Taylor's in the wall as well. And we're on the last lap of the race, and let's have a look at what's happened to Darryl Taylor here. It is Darryl now. Oh! Now that, Ewan, was one of the curbs we said they didn't want to hit.
I think it looked like he was losing the rear end anyway, to be fair, but even so, definitely don't want to be touching the curb up there at the Hoeract, up the highest point of the circuit. It's yeah, really deadly in these cars. In the GT3s, when the 24 hours on Nürburgring, when the whatever it's called these days, WTCR, World Touring Car, whatever. Yep. It's as it's race around here. Obviously, both of those cars you can very much mount, and you're very much meant to up the top at Hoeract there, but you definitely can't in these radicals. Let's see if they are actually mounting the curb there. They're not even really touching it there, are they, at no first? So it's even the flattest of the curbs that you can use in other cars that they're not using. You certainly would in a GT3 here, for example, on the outside there as well. Going nowhere near them in the radical, you just can't afford it.
No, I'm not going to lie. I do use curbs at the top of that Island Forest run. On the right hander, on the left hander, sorry, as you come round to the section. I do use the curb there, which probably hinders my downfall, really. But at the moment, Crabb is trying to get away from Maxwell. Webster's gap still out at 3.5. Underdown is still trying to chase down and get that position back from Mr. Glover, and Glover is still trying to chase down Mr. Clark. So there's a lot going on, as we've still got probably about another 4 minutes of racing on the final lap. And we are on the final lap. We've been running now for 3 laps already, and it's looking like Damien G is out, David Beasley's out, Simon Edwards is out. Dave Dowson and Seth Brown are the last remaining runners there, 13th and 14th place. To be fair, sorry, 12th and 13th. To be fair, you know, we've only lost 3 cars, and that's kind of easily done anyway, as we know. And you know, this circuit does lend itself to people retiring. But all in all, I suppose from that point of view, we've got an unexpected winner, 3 cars out. Surely it's been a good race, isn't it?
It certainly has. It's produced its fair share of surprises. Paul Crabb and Luke Maxwell might well just provide the battles towards the end here as well, which we haven't seen too much of it. And Maxwell there, I think, just tucks into line. I think he's going to wait for the final few corners into the Tiergarten. As you know, we saw between himself and Edwards for the win at the end of last season. I think he's just going to tuck in and wait for that one. By the way, Edwards and Beasley have managed to get back out there again. Beasley's a lap down, and Edwards is running nearly 2 minutes behind Dave Dowson, but they're both still running out there on the circuit. Edwards has just started his final lap. Yeah, we are going to see them make the checkered flag, I think. Yeah, Beasley's not even off the lead lap either, so they're all going to complete the 4 laps. So we've only lost one driver, fortunately.
Damien G there. So there we go. Fair play to David Beasley and Simon Edwards for going back out. I know most people would turn around and say, no, I'm done. Let's go home and go and eat fish and chips. These guys have come back out. Now, what? Okay, so Maxwell's got past Crab again. And I'm wondering if that was somewhat of a let through. But I don't know if that's going to work out for Crab. Oh, this is a character. Oh, did he pop out? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Popped out, so that wasn't on purpose. That was literally him popping out. Now Crab's got to try and get this gap back again. He hasn't got many corners. You know, we've got Munchin, Ice Curve, and then we start going into that final section onto the round the mini carousel and onto the dyno. So, you know, from Crab's point of view, got to get on with it a little bit, isn't he? He's got to be that little bit quicker through corners that he knows he's making that difference.
He's got to be close enough, but even so, it doesn't have to be that close. His straight line speed's very good, and Maxwell will know that. He has to get away here. Just Luke Maxwell, I think he was almost hoping that he could try and use that slipstream off Paul Crab on the final lap and try and slingshot through. I think he almost thought that we'd have a better chance following Paul Crab in this final lap, and so that's why he stayed behind on the run up through that long kind of looping left-hander, if you like, that long flat-out section. You know, it's. I don't think Maxwell's found himself in the ideal position here. Paul Crab may well have a bit more luck in second place, although he did elect to lead around this final lap. Not entirely sure why he decided to do that, but he did. And now with Maxwell just up in front, not having a fantastic run through Galbankov there, he should be able to get through, although Maxwell really did nail that last part.
Yeah, Maxwell hit his brake and on the top before they went and started off the right-hander, and that's going to really kind of bring what is Crab into play. Here we go. Maxwell's, well, he's weaving. He's weaving more than my old grandma knitting a jumper, I'll tell you that much. He's having a go, but he's done now. Here comes Crab. Oh, Crab slingshot like an absolute rocket. Maxwell's tried to fit back in again as we go back onto the lead. I think Dan Webster's going to be near enough coming across the line. Here we go through the last section. How did the Maxwell-Crab battle go? It come out Crab on top. But Dan Webster's going to be coming across the line and takes the victory here as well. Behind that is Paul Crab, Luke Maxwell. Here's another battle with Graham Brown and Phil Glover. Not quite sure how Graham ended up there. Let's call up to the back of Phil. I don't see anywhere where Phil, yes I do, he's popped off track. We'll have a look at that one currently at the moment, but Buson there has lost a place to Paul Clark. Buson went off track as well. We will catch back up to some of this action, and Buson does come across the line with Underdown behind him. Phil Glover has jumped, that's because Graham Brown has gone off. David Rolliston has gone through as well, so it's all kicking off in the last few corners. Phil, Jocelyn and Darrell Taylor. Oh, Phil, running it. He's picked him up, he's stuck him in his pocket, and Phil Jocelyn was not backing out there.
Oh no.
Oh. Well, Phil was going for it, but I don't know if Darrell Taylor's done the same thing. They have.
Oh.
They both done it.
And there's still going to be a race on here into the final corner. Taylor gets back going again. Oh no, they're both in contact again. Jocelyn will not take it. The line was there. Where is the line there? Wow. I'm surprised about that. Jocelyn still didn't make it despite effectively running into Darrell Taylor there.
Yeah, no, the line there is, yeah, they were going at it again. Look, that Darrell Taylor, the line, if we have a look here, well, Simon Edwards has got a long way to go. So I wonder if we can pick up Jocelyn there as well. We'll try and pick up on Edwards. The line is literally as they come out of that corner. Now, we've got a little bit of time. Yeah, it's literally on that last corner. So let's have a look at quickly at Buson's crash. He comes around now. Oh, goes off.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, no. Oh, that's into the mini carousel.
Even more no.
Yeah. That's a definite no. So that's how he lost positions there as well. Let's have a look at Glover. Where is Edwards? He's coming down the straight. Got a little bit of a pop. But this is Phil Glover. Now, Phil was making gains over. Oh, hello, behind the tree. Try that one again. I'm not quite sure how we ended up behind the tree on that one. Oh,
just
he's
seemed
already
to.
out.
Oh, he started to slide, and then he lost confidence entirely and locked up the brakes, which obviously sends you straight on, and straight on with the wall. So I'm not sure why. I think it felt like he could have saved that maybe, but anyway, 7th place is still a good finish for him. Not quite that top 5 that he might have got, but with Boosen going off. But obviously he wasn't to know that at the time. Boosen went off after he went off. That Jocelyn and Taylor battle was almost comical, and this line must almost be on this apex here.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
That's it.
Wow. It's almost on the apex because Darrell Taylor didn't make that exit himself. Justin pushed him towards that. I mean, this is possibly my favourite battle of the season. It's unbelievable to see them both off. I don't know how Darrell Taylor comes off, by the way. Just goes too deep and into the grass. He hits the wall pretty hard there. Invisible tyres.
Yeah, he speeds back on track, doesn't he, to try and keep this place. Here comes Phil Jocelyn.
Here comes Jocelyn. There he goes.
And the line is the line is there.
Wow, I'm amazed. I thought the line was almost where the start line is because that would make more sense in my head. But clearly, it's it's barely on the. You're barely on the power by that point in the corner, to be honest.
Yeah, it's literally on that last bit. So
it's very bizarre.
We are waiting for David B to come across the line. Unfortunately, he's been off track, and that car is literally battered. And well, this is how started his off-track run. Okay, he's popped back out of the barrier. Go all the way through.
Yeah, nearly retired on the last lap there as a result of getting grabbed in by the by one of the barriers, which does happen quite a lot around here because there are so many barriers of that strange glitch, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it does hold you in, which is a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
So he's coming around the mini carousel now. He's already lost the car. The car's absolutely... But fair play to him. He is still going. We have got to wait for him to cross the line before we can give the results. Martina Wood, welcome in. Wow, what a finish. It was Crabbe and Maxwell going at it, and then Phil Jocelyn, which is absolutely unbelievable. I'll tell you what we will do in the meantime while we wait for David Beasley to finish. Let's have a chat with your victor this evening, Dan Webster. Good evening, sir. Welcome in.
Good evening.
Unexpected, do you think?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, now, okay. What's the reasoning behind a no? Because we had Edwards and Maxwell looking very speedy round here, you know, and don't get me wrong, you took your opportunities down and you run away with it, you know, at one point opening up a 3.5 second gap. So, did you think then you would take the victory? Did you think it was there?
Yes, if I'm honest. Although it was very, very, very difficult. But I've put in a bit of practice this week, and I knew I had the pace. I cocked up a couple of laps in qualifying by getting a 1S with a wheel on the grass that would have put me pretty much alongside Simon, if not maybe a tiny bit in front. So I knew I had the pace. But yeah, I mean, I was just lucky to get a run on Luke, and Simon killed himself. So, but I was optimistic going into it. I knew I was as quick as those two guys, but it's a very, very difficult track to even just do 4 laps in a row, let alone have a race.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel your pain, mate. Trust me, the officials I've had this week, I've felt a lot of pain. Not going to lie. You know, so you've come through, taking the last race of the season. What's next for Dan Webster now? Because we've got this couple of weeks off before we look at starting next. So what's on the cards for you?
Well, hopefully I'll do a full season. I mean, the last time I did a full season, I won it. So that's the aim.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Next on your cards, then next season, full season, Dan Webster win, yeah?
That'd be nice. I mean, it's incredibly hard to beat Simon and Luke and John when he's racing. But yeah, if I put in enough practice, I can occasionally do it. So you got to aim for the win.
Mate, always. Number one, all the time there, bud. Well, congratulations on your victory this evening. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave?
Just all the guys in the league and the guys that keep it running. They're all excellent, really fun to race with, great bunch of guys. So yeah, well done to everyone.
Well done, buddy, and congratulations on your first place next season.
Brill, thank you very much.
Let's pull in second place man, Mr. Paul Crabb, into the booth. Good evening, Paul. How are you?
I'm fine, James. I'm fine.
That wasn't a bad race, was it?
No, I'm happy with that. I got a lucky tactical move exiting out of the carousel on the last lap. I thought that was a stroke of genius. Completely unintentional, but it put me back behind Luke.
Well, no, don't deny it. No, don't say that. Full confident. But yeah, that's where I purposely let him through. I knew it was going to be the place I might have lost less time.
Yeah, no. Tactics. Yeah, but I thought Luke's tires were starting to go on lap 3, so I thought, okay, I'll have a go at him up the straights and see if I can pull a gap. But my tires started to go on lap 4, and I thought, no, this is it. This is Luke drafting me down the last straight. So I was expecting third, but locked into the second, I think. And Luke was quite kind, not trying to challenge too hard on the going into the last section.
Give a couple of weaves down the straight, I think he might have done that all the way down, which we were hoping he wouldn't have done it anyway. But look, overall, mate, you've had not a bad season, have you, really? And, we've got a couple of week break before we look at starting again.
Yep.
What's on the agenda, Paul? What you got coming up?
Oh, I've got there's the Radical Championship finals on Sunday. I'm going to try and get into that if I'm not diverted, and back into this again next season. So,
buddy, well, congratulations on your second place, mate. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
Dan Webster, he gave me a setup.
No.
Yeah. So. I've done a lot of endurance racing with Dan, so I was happy to see him win. He was definitely quick around here. He normally only puts in 5 laps of practice, and that's normally good enough for him.
Oh, he did. Apparently, he did put in some more. We've just Simon Edwards lap.
Yes,
a little bit weird, but look, he made another mistake, and unfortunately torpedoed the appointment. Completely wrecked his car. But look, mistakes happen. That's how we go. Onwards and upwards.
Yep.
And we look forward to seeing you next season, buddy.
Yeah, and thank you, gents, for great commentary all season.
No worries. So, joined by Ewan most of the season. So, massive shout out to Ewan there for joining us as well.
Yep.
Right, let's bring in your fair plays man, Mr. Luke Maxwell. Good evening, Luke. How are you?
Yeah, all right, thank you. Yeah, that was a thoroughly enjoyable end to the season. It's good fun race. I just unfortunately couldn't quite keep up with Dan there. Made a couple of mistakes on the lap 2 really, and and into lap 3, and it just cost me the toe. And then I had Paul behind me, thinking, oh, he's going to be going for it on the last lap. So we'll try and engineer it that I'm behind, and I think we were both battling to be in third place.
Yeah, well, Paul did come in and just say, did you like my tactics letting him through on the carousel? But then they said it was completely unintentional, so he didn't do that. What is the panic, right? We talk about that dot and ho straight. We talk about where you need to, as me and you and having a good old chinwag about it. What's the fear for the driver? Because there's nothing you can do there, Luke. Once you,
It's tactics, isn't it? And I was thinking I'd either try and push away from Paul and I was half a second and I thought, is it enough? But your trouble is then you keep it on the throttle. But what I should have done really was backed off, let him past. We could have had a battle up the up to the end there. But by the time I decided to ease off, he was too far gone. So it's just tactics. It's always a good end to the race, but you're either trying to push in the corners to get the gap to not have that problem, or your tactics at the end there. But no, fair play to Paul. He had a good race, and I'm happy with third. I think that seals second in the championship.
Yeah, it does. Any position above Mike Boussac already got second. Almost like watching Hamilton and Verstappen trying to get DRS there. Together on that. Trying to slow each other right down. I did wonder which way it was going to go. We were talking about who's going to back off, who's going to let through. And then
I was definitely all lined up to. I thought I'll let him pass the lap before, and then see if I can keep him behind him. Yeah, it's that mistake, isn't it? And then you have to take you can't really do much. You're in the carousel. You got to carry on at that point. But
Right.
no, it was good fun, and I think what I should have done probably was eased off a bit more coming into the Dottinger at the end there, and just to try and have a bit of toe on him in the end. But yeah, all's fair in love and war.
It is, and it's all tactical, so it's definitely a war there, Luke. I'll tell you that much. But look, man, we've asked everybody else. We've got a couple of week breaks now before we look at starting next season. What's the plan for Luke Maxwell for these next couple of weeks?
Oh, probably doss about a bit, have a bit of a rest. I will go in the sim, but I think last time, week 13, I was doing a bit of R Factor 2 and some rallying and stuff, and just trying to chill out really, and not focus too much on the radicals. So yeah, I'll have a bit of a break, I would think, and see where we are in a couple of weeks.
Awesome stuff there, Luke. Well, anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth this evening?
I haven't thought in advance, but yeah, shout out to you guys again. Good cracking broadcasting. I'll go and watch it all back now.
Awesome, mate. Well, you take care, buddy, and we'll look forward to seeing you next season.
Yeah, take it easy. Bye.
Right, I want to have a word with Mr. Simon Edwards in the. How are you? It's good evening, Simon. How are you?
I'm good. I think I've wasted my evening, but I'm good.
Well, look, let's look at it on the upside. Say there is an upside. The first mistake. What actually happened there? You run wide. You hit the curb, and there was a kind of nowhere ending.
You just described it there. I mean, I knew I was going to understeer there, so and I think everybody was lifting on the first lap, but I just didn't quite lift enough, and I just couldn't get off the grass before that little teeny curb, and it just threw me in the barrier on the other side, and there was a lot of damage. Luckily, most of the corners coming up were then right-handers, and I thought I could hold it until the end of the lap to pit, but as soon as I got to the first fast left-hander, I just went straight off.
We just watched you running along the grass and barrier there. Well, look, overall though, yeah, the last race, right, we didn't see any of what's happening now. We haven't got it on the broadcast, I promise. You weren't the only one there as well. Seth Brown went off right behind you, well, so you can have a look at that, and he was coming in. But your season has been cracking. You've taken the championship. You're going into defending champion. Have a couple of weeks off now. What's the plan for Simon Edwards now then? Because obviously, won.
Yeah, I've won it. That's a good thing, even though it's unexpected last week. So I'm glad I didn't need this week. I'm looking forward to next season because they might be changing the format.
We have.
Yeah. So if they change the format, then obviously it's a new challenge. So. And hopefully we can get a few people back. Dan's obviously appeared today. I don't know if it was just Nords had tempted him back in, or if he's coming back more permanently.
We did say in the interview that he's looking to come back and try and complete. So, that's good. Don't forget, guys, as well, as we have said, Radical Race Series are looking actively recruiting drivers. Please get involved. You have sat here and watched it on a Thursday night. Most of you have been every single. Absolutely amazing. RadicalRaceSeries.co.uk. Go and check it out. Join the Discord. Get involved. Absolutely amazing community and the people in it. And get to have a conversation with your current Simon Edwards. You know what I mean? He only charges £5 by photograph as well, which is nice to cheap as chips, says Simon, eh?
Yeah, you wouldn't want a photo of me.
But look, buddy, congratulations on your championship. Done an absolute stellar job. Onwards and upwards to next season. For the final time this season, then, Simon, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the?
I think I'll give a shout out to all the drivers who've managed to continue this season after we thought we might have to close it last season. So everybody who's continued this season, including all the organisers, who've put in a lot of work to keep it going.
Don't forget up and running again as well. So Simon, you take care, buddy, and I'll look forward to seeing.
Yep, you too.
Right, guys, so we're going to have a quick chat for the final time this season to the wonderful Phil Glover, who is in the booth. Phil, how are you? You finished 7th in the end, Phil. Not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah. Although, as you'll see, I think on the last lap, probably 3/4 of the way around, or maybe halfway around, I went off, didn't I? Which didn't help. But I think I only lost one place. Somebody overtook me down the long straight and then crashed, so I kept that place. I can't remember who that was.
Well, you gained one position. There was a lot of action with Darryl Taylor and Phil Jocelyn. Both Ewan and myself were actively having a chuckle because there was a lot going on. And if you haven't seen it, please go and check it out. Because
You know what? I kept hearing my name thinking, I haven't done anything.
No, it was actively Phil Jocelyn and Darryl Taylor was absolutely incredible going into the last. So, overall, season's not been too bad, Phil. Are you looking at coming back again next season?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think for me it's just picked up a little bit towards the end of the season, to be honest. So maybe that's a good omen for next year.
Yeah, you definitely
season.
Yeah, you definitely were closing on Paul Clark there once we'd spoken to you the first time round. So you were doing a stellar job there, buddy. But look, for the final time then this season there, mate, thank you so much again for being here in the waiting room ready for us to pull in at any single point. Hopefully we haven't put you off too much. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before you leave the booth?
Well, as always, you guys, I mean, you're promoting sim racing through what you do, and I think that's a great thing to happen. Especially if it means kids get into it and start having a go, and hopefully that'll lead on to a motorsport future for them as well. So yeah, no, keep up the good work. Cheers.
Right, Ewan. That's it. We've come to the end of the season. The results, the final race results are in, and we can have a look back now. Dan Webster was your victor. Paul Crabb in second, Luke third. Paul Clark fourth, Mike Boost on fifth, Ben under. Phil Glover seventh, Dave Rollison eighth, Graham Brown ninth, Darryl Taylor 10th, Phil Jocelyn 11th, Steph Brown 12th, Dave Dowson 13th, Simon Edwards down in 14th. Didn't get back on as David B. David end, and Damien overall Martin Ward. Congrats to all survivors. Smiley face. Amazing. That's been quite an epic season, doing one, hasn't it? Really.
Certainly has. It's been very enjoyable indeed, and yeah, very much looking forward to the next one. That's as you say, coming up very soon now. We'll see if Simon Edwards can make it 5, because he's getting a bit of a habit now of winning these championships. Although this one wasn't quite as dominant as we have seen from some of his others, to be fair. And he has won some very, very dominant ones in the past. This one a little bit more of a close run thing. But yeah, we'll see what happens next season.
Guttering out there. Not once were we able to say, Mike Booton, you are the victor.
Yeah, and he'll certainly be back next season, I hope, looking for that race. Surely it's got to come next season, hasn't it? I thought he would get to the end of this season, to be fair, with before getting that race win. I thought he'd get one before the end, but he hasn't been able to do that. So surely next season it's got to be.
Got to come for Mike Booton, guys, as well. Don't forget, if you actively want to get involved there, guys, as well, please go down in the description. Check out radicalraceseries.co.uk. Over, get your Discord. Never know, we might see you on track. Amazing. The season launch date at the moment is penciled in for the 15th of December, running right the way through, I believe, goes and frantically text the diary, the 2nd of March. So come and get yourselves involved. Absolutely incredible series to be involved with. Please go and check them out as well. Must give a massive shout out to iLoungeRacing.co.uk, being our sponsor, this season as well. Please go and check them out at iLoungeRacing.co.uk. Also, look out for a special that might be taking place on the 3rd of January here on the JPB channel, then a little live thing in the works with the guys at iLounge Racing as well. So please go check them out. Hype Automotive as well. Thank you so much for being involved. Incredible. And to everybody else. Errol Taylor, Graham Brown. And I suppose, Ewan, thank you so much for joining me for an absolutely epic season.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be here once again. I've done quite a few of these Radical Race Series seasons now, and it's been very, very enjoyable indeed. Yeah, it's been thoroughly enjoyable. So yeah, I look forward to next season once again. Always great racing on a Thursday night.
Absolutely. There you go, guys. That brings us to the end of this. Much love to everybody who jumped in. Data Seagull, much love to you, Paula May, Ben Young, Matheson, Phil across the pond, Dan S, and Sim Racing Community, who also was involved in the organising and running of. But guys, that is it. And for the final time this season, take care. Have a great week. Never know. Might see you on the track next season. Good night.